Perfect. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. It's Craig Rieger. I'm the co-founder of Rieger Coaching and Consulting, and I'm really fired up to be launching day one of Vision to Reality. I started this coaching company about 3.5 years ago. I've been in the coaching space for about 20 years in real estate because I'm really passionate about helping agents like you have massive success in both business and in life. And right now, there's no doubt that the market is massively turning. I think in the last 2.5 weeks, I've been with over 20,000 agents in 6 different cities. And although it's different, market by market, state by state, county by county, but the general theme across the board is things are really drastically different than they were just 5 or 6 months ago. I'm positive that the agents are going to make it through this. They're going to have the best skills. They're going to have the best strategies. And possibly right now, most important, the strongest mindset. And those that focus on those 3 categories are going to have the greatest likelihood of not just getting through this, but truly thriving next year and beyond. And those that don't, I'm actually terribly concerned of their ability to even make it through this next market. And so this whole series is built around planning out 2023 and beyond. Strategies, we've got, I think, 13 different coaches presenting over the next 9 days, and it's going to be incredible. So let's get started and have a great Vision to Reality series. All right, I'm your coach. I'm Craig Rieger, co-founder of RCC. I've got a top producing team here in Portland, Oregon. We're tracking about 500 units. In all reality, we're down about 150 units from where I anticipated ending the year. So this changing market certainly an impact on my own sales team. And with that said, I'm incredibly proud of what our agents and staff are doing here with our own real estate company. We are RCC Coaching. We're a nationally recognized coaching company. As I shared, I think I've been in 6 or 7 cities over the last couple of weeks. And we're just going to fill up the next 10 days with content for you. All right, so I want to dive right in. 2022 review. What was your 2022 goal? What did it look like? Units and volume. Where did you intend to be at? 65, 70 days from today? Where did you think you were going to end this year when you started? I'm sure all of us had a goal like units, volume, money made, maybe people hired. Where did you plan to be? And let's just do a reality check. So this is an exercise. I hope you all have a pen and paper with you as you go through the series. What is your actual today? And some of you already know that number. Some of you have to go to your broker or your office or your ops manager to determine that. But where do you stand today? What do you have in escrow? What's already closed? How many more units do you predict you'll get closed by the end of the year? And let's take a look at that. What was the goal for this year and what's our actual for both units and volume? Number 2, in 22 review, what sources of business worked for you this year? Typically, we find the most successful agents on the planet are going to have 3 main legs of business. Maybe that's Sphere, maybe you're buying some leads, and maybe it's open houses. Or it could be 100 other sources. But we'll find that the most successful agents historically are going to have 3 sources of business. And it will never be 33%, 33%, 33%, but they'll essentially be 3 legs that their business is standing on. And then they'll typically have another handful of legs as well. And those might be some newer initiatives they put in place that they're just starting to haven't taken off or launched yet. They might be what I call business by accident. Just, hey, there's some business showing up here. I don't do a whole lot for it, but it gives me a handful of sales a year. But as we're wrapping up 2022 and most importantly, planning out 2023, where did your business come from this year? And I want you to pay special attention when you get through those 3 main sources and even look at the additional ones you might have. How did your 2022 sources of business compare with previous years? And the reason we bring that up is we're coaching hundreds and hundreds of agents on a one-on-one basis throughout the country. And we're seeing that across the board, their repeat client, their referral business, and their Sphere business was down in 2022 compared to previous years, at least down from a percentage standpoint. So in other words, we're getting less referrals and less repeat business than they have in previous years. For a lot of us, we can attribute that at least to the first 6 months of the year. We were so incredibly busy just servicing the business. We're so incredibly busy writing offers at 40, 50, 100, 200,000 over asking and potentially losing. We're so busy writing those crazy offers and waiving contingencies and taking homes as is. So it was a remarkable time the last few years in real estate, but because of it, many of us lost track of maybe our most important piece of business, repeat clients and referrals. So as you look at those sources, pay special attention to what happened with your repeat business, not good or bad, but just a reality check. What happened with your referrals 2022 compared to other years? And if you're like many of the folks we know throughout the real estate space, you might have seen that go down. Probably again, because of how busy you are. So what a phenomenal time. And we'll talk about a little bit today and a whole lot throughout the next 9 days of what do we need to do to get back into a relationship and have a really strong referral business next year. What one thing worked best for you in 2022? Like, what are you most proud of? What just dominated? What made you happy? What made you feel good? Did you add a couple superstars to your team? Did you bring on a source of business that was incredibly successful? Did you manage your calendar appropriately and get some time off and have time with those people that you care most about? Like, write it down. What was the one thing that you're really proud of you accomplished in business in 2022? And next up, there's no doubt some things went wrong. What one thing broke in 2022? What opportunity just didn't work out for you? If you could go back in time, you would take it off the table completely, or you would do it a completely different way. What is it that just kind of fell apart? And let's know what that is now. As we're focusing on 2023, do we need to re-attack it from a different view? Do we need to learn or coach or mentor with somebody that's already winning in that area? Do we need to scrap it? Because that was a strategy that might have been really good in the market we just came out of, but maybe not a strategy that's going to work in the new market we're in now. So just take some time to reflect on 2022. Next up, let's just start looking at some metrics. How did the year shape out? What was your average sales price? Were you up from last year? Were you down from last year? How about the average buyer's agent's commission? Was there downward pressure on that as historically where you've always been? Or did it go down a little bit? Or possibly what we're seeing in the Portland market, we're seeing some BACs, that's where our base is here in Portland, Oregon. We're seeing some of the BACs be a little bit higher. We're seeing some bonuses on some commissions. What direction is it trending now? And obviously the same with your listing agent commission. And then what are your conversions? This is what I continuously say was the, I guess it's like the not sexy part of real estate. Like, we go into real estate because we love people, or we love sales, or we had some dream we'd have a flexible schedule. We didn't really go into real estate for all this tracking and all that stuff. At the end of the day, it's the ones of us that know that and track it and look at it and make course adjustments that are going to consistently have the most success. And in the market we're currently in, and certainly approaching in 2023, it's going to be more critical than ever. So how many appointments did you set to appointments attended? On our team, I can tell you it's about 70%. And there's a really good reason we have a 30% dropout. So for every 10 appointments we set, we know that year to date, we're going on 7. We're meeting with that new client face-to-face. And on that 30% we don't meet with, in some cases, it's because we pre-qualified them up front. And it turns out it's just not somebody we should be meeting with at this time. In other cases, of course, they might have no-showed or had something come up, or in the market we just got out of, it was quite often the house sold, and we weren't able to find them another house that quickly. How about how many appointments you attended to buyer escrows? So, okay, I had 10 opportunities in the month of October for new clients. I met with 7 of them face-to-face, and I currently have 5 of them under contract or at least writing offers. That's a number every one of us should know. A number of buyer escrows to buyer closings. Are you closing absolutely everything you get under contract? Or is there a jam up after they get into contract? And that might be an opportunity where we have to look at working with a different lender, or our properties consistently falling apart at home inspection. So what percentage do we get in contract that actually ultimately close? And of course, it's the same for listing appointments. You know, how many listing appointments did I attend versus how many were signed? And I see this area, bullet number 5 under your conversions, being one of the bigger opportunities for agents across the country. We get really, really confident as an industry on the buy side. And I love buyers. They're amazing. And at the end of the day, they're super time consuming. Like, you meet one buyer in a normal market, And you might end up showing them 10, 15, 20, 30 properties. So even as a newer agent, at the end of that one buyer, you're super confident at using the multiple listings, scheduling showings, opening doors, trying to reach listing agents and getting questions answered. So we get a lot of practice on the buy side. And that's why I see so many agents have a heavier business at the end of the year. It's like, yeah, Craig, I closed 42 properties and 32 of those were buyers and 10 were listings. Or Craig, I closed 100 properties and out of that 100, 65 were buyers and 35 were listings. And regardless of the market we're in, listings will always be the best source of leverage. Bottom line, you get a listing, it's well priced, and you've got, depending on the market you're in, dozens, if not hundreds, if not thousands of agents and buyers. They're going to come and tour and show that property and ultimately bring you offers if you market it correctly and you price it correctly. But on the listing side, we just don't get that much practice. So I see the agents over and over falling into being really, really good buyers agents and struggling on the listing side or not being as confident. When they're not as confident, guess what happens? We don't attract as many listings into our world. So a good number to look at right now year to date is how many appointments did you have and how many were signed? And if there's a breakdown between the two, it's probably because of a lack of confidence at the listing presentation or listing consultation. And then of course, of how many listings you took, how many ultimately sold? Well, if it was the first half of the year, you're probably at 100%. With the rates going up and the market changing, are you primed and ready and able to discuss with a potential seller at the listing consultation what it's going to take to get the property sold now? Are you prepared to overcome those objections? Well, hey, Craig, my neighbor's house sold for $100,000 over asking, so I'm expecting the same. And being really in tune with the market, being able to show that client you're sitting across from today what's changed in the market compared to when their neighbor probably got sold back in April or February or even last year for that matter. So we've got our numbers compiled. We've done the data. It's going to take some research if you're not currently doing it. And the nice thing, if you can get that in place now and you start tracking it for the rest of this year and throughout next year, you're going to see some really big ahas in your business. So what do you do with it next? Well, let's schedule your 2023 business planning offsite retreat. But I don't like the word retreat because retreat means we're going backwards. So let's get everything compiled of where we currently are at this year. Where did we hope to be? Where are we actually at? What are our sources of business? What's our conversion ratios? And let's get that offsite advance scheduled. Let's get a comprehensive of our business going into it. Some other things to look at is sources of business. Where did it come from? We talked about those top three. Look at some others. GCI, how much money has the company made this year? How much have you spent? If you're running or own or part of a team, let's do a breakdown per team member. How much money did they make? I actually get a report. I got it this morning for each of my locations on the teams that I run. And per agent, I get a running live 30-day tally every Monday of how much money they're making in the next 30 days. It's phenomenal. I'm able to send out some hey, congratulations. And I also can see on my team who's struggling over the next 30 days and reach out and meet with them one-on-one and help them with their business. As we're planning 2023, let's look at what did we accomplish this year for time off, vacation, travel. Did we live the life we wanted to live, or did we get a couple trips, but for the most part, when we're on them, we're glued to our cell phone and our computer 24 hours a day? And what do we want next year to look like? So we get all organized, we put the 2023 business planning advance on our calendar and we block it. Like right now, let's block it. Let's do it for November 16th at 1 to 5 p.m. And if you've got a person in your organization that can compile, because again, it's not the fun part, all of the numbers and all things I just shared, then write their name down. Susie or Bob will get this all organized for me. And if you're an individual practitioner, that's fantastic. Then you're going to write your own name there. So all my company advance on this day during this window, and I'm in charge of the next couple of weeks getting all of this organized. We want to be really clear on where we're at now, so we can get equally clear on where we need to be and what we need to do in 2023 to win in this very changing market. And we want to talk about mindset, right? I opened up with that. The folks with the strongest skills, the best strategies, and the most positive mindset have the greatest likelihood of winning in this next market. I'm gonna double click there. Let's go back one. Nope. Perfect. So big why, the purpose of a big why is to motivate you to do the things you don't want to do so you can get where you want to go. So let's camp on that. The purpose of a big why is to motivate you to do the things you don't want to do so you can get where you want to go. Let's call it like it is. Being incredibly successful is not easy. If it was, like, everybody on the planet would be in all aspects of their life. The big why is it's why we put the armor on to fight the fight. It's why we get out of bed when we're a little bit tired. It's why we go to bed a little bit earlier when we just want to download one more show on Netflix. It's why we eat well. It's why we exercise. It's why we have a positive mindset. It's those things that keep us energized and impactful when it's hard, because it is so important that I accomplish this. It's so important that I've got a great income and I can pay for my kids to go to college. It's so important that I make a bunch of money because my parents are getting to a stage in life and they're going to need some help in assisted living. It's so important because I'm so passionate about animals. Now I want to make this extra money and open an animal shelter. Like, what is it that drives you beyond just getting up, working with wonderful buyers and sellers today, and potentially selling another home? Like, what's the bigger vision behind it? It's what our big why will be. And it's something, especially in a market like this, we should take some time on. How will your life be different when you accomplish your big why? What will it look like? How will you feel? And then, of course, a lot of times big why can be something really tied to right now. Like, hey, Craig, I've already had 4 months, and we're hearing this constantly throughout the country by agents, is I'm making a lot less money since about May or June than I anticipated. And I've got some financial stress. My taxes are due. We've got a seasonal market coming here in November, December, January. So historically, that's going to be a little bit down as well. And my big why right now might just be to make some extra money and get out of the stress I'm under. That's perfectly fine. It is really difficult to have this life-changing big why if we've got a bunch of pressure on us at the moment. So your big why could be a short-term big why, specifically tied to income. How much money do you want to make this year? I mean, this year, I'm more focusing on the next 14 and a half months through next year. What do you want it to look like in 5 years? How much money are you making? How much of that is passive? How much is invested? And when you accomplish each of these steps, how will that contribute to the bigger picture big why? And again, I just keep camping on this. I don't want you to feel bad like tying financial success to a big why. Today, we're having a business meeting. For the next 9 days, we're going to continue that business meeting. And a business meeting is about having a great industry and a great job or a company that you own or run or are part of in it. It's about giving amazing service to the buyers and the sellers and the folks you're helping. But at the end of the day, it is how most of us make our money. And so if we're going to have this business meeting, the purpose of a great business is to help a whole lot of people have a whole lot of fun. And I believe most as importantly, to make a bunch of money. So as you accomplish all of those goals, how will that contribute to the big why? For me, I can share a lot of the goals that I have with myself, my family, my kids, my parents. The charities that we want to give back to, a lot of it is tied to the financial success we have. And that does 2 things for me. One is it frees me up. If I have no money worries whatsoever, that frees up my time to go to give more to all of the areas that are important to me. And number 2, if I've got financial freedom, it enables me for the right opportunities to give some of that money to help others as well. How will that help you? I like Teddy's quote here. It's true as a nation, as an individual, the greatest doer must also be the greatest dreamer. I find so often in the real estate space that some of the most successful people, and I lived in that space for a long time, we're just really, really good doers. We just get up and we work so hard and we just keep giving it our all. We're just one more sale away. And I love what Teddy shared. It's, be a dreamer. Right now it's about dreaming. What do you want your life to look like? What's your big why? How will that impact you and others? And by focusing on the 5-year vision, for me, this is something that came out of all the agents that I've been hanging out with the last couple of weeks. It really changed, my thought process on like interest rates are really hard right now. We got clients that were clients that are backing out of the market and they're no longer interested in, buying right now, or they're taking a break. And as a real estate practitioner, myself, my team, and even some of the folks I coach, there can be a lot of negativity right now being in our industry. What I like about focusing on this 5-year vision is nothing's going to stop us from achieving that. Like, I'm crystal clear where my life is going to be, my family's going to be, my finances are going to be, my vacations are going to be, passive income is going to look like. So yeah, maybe we've got a bumpy road here for a few months or even a couple of quarters or maybe even another year. But when I stayed very clear on that 5-year vision of what things are going to look like, it takes away any stress of right now. It's like, cool, I just got to make it through this. Well, right now I got to make it through the next 70 days through the end of this year. And then I got to survive and thrive and start dominating the first quarter. And I've got to set up a great year for next year. So that 5-year vision will carry us through the clarity of, like, right now it's just a blip on the radar of this great life that we have in front of ourselves. All right, goal setting. That's what it's all about. Begin with the end in mind. Stephen Covey, a little bit more on the 5-year vision. The foundation you build this year needs to support that 5-year vision. Again, the foundation you build this year needs to support that 5-year vision. What habits do we have to have in place? What savings do we have to have in place? What mindset do we have in place? What is one thing that you need to do different right now to have a really successful next year? The vast majority of us already know what that is. And I've already hit on some of them. Like, it may just be health. It might be getting a little bit better sleep. It might be waking up a little bit earlier. It might be some exercise in the morning or some meditation. For others, it's going to be a database and really communicating with our past clients and family and friends. For others, it's probably script practice and role playing. It could be lead generation, lead follow-up. What one thing do you need to do different? You already know it. That's going to have a tremendous impact on your success for next year. And then the flip side of it is, what one thing do you need to stop doing? Right? We all also know what's holding us back. Some of those bad habits we have that consistently creep into our life. Like, okay, I've got it on the calendar and I'm going to sit down and I reach out to a group of clients or past clients or family and friends, and I'm going to hit that tomorrow at 1 o'clock. And sure enough, at 12:50, we're finding every excuse to not do it. At 1:05, we're on social media. And at 1:17, we're wandering down the hall talking to our coworker. Like, we put these things in place that keep us from being successful, unfortunately. We know what they are. And in the market we're in, to go where you want to go, this is a tremendous opportunity over the next 60 or 70 days to start putting some different habits in place. So let's create some good habits that we know will impact having a phenomenal 2023 and beyond. And let's look at a couple of those other habits that we also fully know are blocking us from our success. And let's get those in place as well, or at least eliminate those and replace them with some better ones. All right, goal setting continued. The purpose of a goal is the plan it creates. The purpose of a goal is the plan it creates. What are some things that should likely be in our goal list for 2023? Time blocking. Like, literally, that's not by accident, it's number one. Time block your health, time block your meditation. For goodness sake, time block your family time and keep that like a meeting on your calendar. That's the most important listing point that you have. Time block your vacations. Time block your lead generation. And for many of you, I don't know if you have to do lead generation. You might. There's so many leads out there. There's so many lead opportunity sources out there. I think I grew up in an environment where it's like, you got to lead generate for 4 hours a day. And that company I used to be at is a phenomenal company with hundreds of thousands of agents. Yet I saw very few of them, myself included, that was really willing to lead generate for 4 hours a day. And what I'd switch that to is, as real estate agents, we only have to lead generate for a period of time until we accumulate a group of leads. We put them into our CRM. They live there. There's notes and reminders of when to follow up. And after that, we just got to be in the lead follow-up game. It's much easier to reach out to a warm lead that knows us than it is to consistently go and convince people we don't know to do business with us. And both of them can be highly effective, but the warm leads is a lot easier to do. The results are substantially faster. In fact, often I'll teach in classes, like, if you're going to show up and you've got on your time block in the morning, I'm going to lead generate or lead follow up or do both. I'm going to always recommend that you do lead follow-up first, the first activity of the day, every single day, after you worked on family, health, exercise, etc. But your first business activity of the day should always be lead follow-up. And the reason I'm so passionate about lead follow-up is because I understand our industry at a really high level. And number one, if we're reaching out to warmer leads, which is what a lead follow-up is, there's a higher probability of getting a yes. So if we can start each day with getting that yes in place. Yes, Craig, I'll meet with you. Yes, I'm ready to buy a home. Yes, I'm ready to have a buyer consult. Yes, I'm ready to have you come over and talk about selling my home. Number one is our confidence just goes up, compound interest substantially. Like you start your day with that yes, and if you continue to lead follow-up and then move into lead generation and your confidence is higher, guess what? Substantially higher probability, you're going to get more people saying yes to you that day. So if we start with lead follow-up, we're more confident and we're more likely to get that yes. Number two, the reason I really recommend lead follow-up before lead generation is because we get ambushed, right? We start our day, we've got this perfect time block, everything is just looking perfect on our calendar, and we get into 20, 30 minutes of our lead follow-up or lead generation morning, and then like some huge fire hits on one of our escrows, or the school calls, and our daughter has to go home sick, or, right? There's a million things that pull us off of our schedule. So again, if we can just get started with that lead follow-up, get at least that one yes for the day, from somebody saying, I'm ready to meet to talk about buying or selling a home. We've got the win. So no matter what comes after that, we have at least one win for the day that's going to contribute to our success. My personal belief for full-time agents, and they're definitely just for full-time agents, our only goal when we get out of bed and go to work is to sell a home. It's literally that simple. Like, I meet so many real estate agents, and it's like, how many hours are you working? It's like 20, 30, 40, 50 a week. And you're doing this 3, 4 weeks a month. They're like, yeah. And I'm like, cool, what's your goal for units you want to put in contract this month? I'm like, I don't know, 1 or 2. I'm like, so let me say this straight. You're going to work like 25 or 26 days out of the next month, and your only goal is to sell 1 or 2 homes. Like, what are you going to do the other 23 days? Right? So as a coach, my belief system is if we're going to get up and get out of bed, we should be and go to work. We should be doing activities that create the highest probability of us selling a home today. Is that reasonable? Is that likely that every one of us is going to sell a home every single day we work? Of course not. So if we are not going to sell a house today, then our only goal after that is to do activities that will have the greatest likelihood of us meeting somebody or scheduling an appointment with somebody that has a chance of buying or selling a house with us tomorrow. So time block, lead generation, lead follow-up, scripting should be a big part of our goal setting. In the market we're going into, knowing our market, knowing the opportunities of the market, sharing that at a really high level, overcoming potential interest rate objections, is going to come down to really strong scripting. That should be blocked on our calendar. It should be goal sets. Sources of business. We literally were just talking about with our sales team last week, and I'm so proud of my administrative team. They put it into place already this morning, is we're going to do a first-time buyer seminar in about 2.5 weeks. Now, 9 months, 12 months ago, I was coaching a team out of the Seattle area, and they mentioned they're going to do a first-time buyer seminar a year ago. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Like a year ago, we're in a market where everybody's getting multiple offers. Cash is king and winning the vast majority of the time. If it's not cash, you're putting on 20, 30, 40%. Can we all agree we just came out of a market that first-time buyers were not in an advantage in? In fact, they had a really, really challenging time buying. Prices were going up dramatically. Sellers wouldn't pay closing costs. Low down payments were not looked at as advantageous when there were 7 offers. So as we look at sources of business, I don't see that as a great source of business in 2021 and the beginning of 2022. But I see first-time buyers being a phenomenal source of business in 2023. So what's our goals going to look like around first-time buyers, investors, listings we're going to take, flippers, Airbnb clients we can help, maybe people that want to purchase and hold. And then, of course, in goal setting, let's get it scheduled out now. How many vacations do you want next year? And when you're on vacation, do you really actually want to be on vacation, or will you be stuck on your phone? What does your time off look like? And then in goal setting, let's get clear on how consistent we're going to be, how accountable we're going to be. Do we need a coach or a mentor or somebody to come into our life to help make sure that we don't squirrel out and we actually stay on track? I love goal setting. So want to talk about 2022 in review, 2023. Let's get some numbers together to get organized. Let's look at some things we can set some goals for. I should have shared at the beginning of this. Hi, Andrea. Do we have some questions?
We have a couple questions, couple thoughts.
Okay, cool.
All right. So Matt asked, if you have done primarily listings with sellers who have moved out of the area, do you still consider these leads? And if so, how do you follow up with these people after closing?
I don't consider them leads, Matt, but I would consider them relationships, right? They're gone, like they relocated out of town. But odds are they've got friends, they've got family, they have coworkers in your home market that they're still in relationship. And by the way, I also, during the time of getting their listing, getting it in escrow and getting it closed, I've got a relationship with them as well. So Matt, my answer would be very simple, and we'll talk about it in a few minutes here. Have a really good touch campaign to your past clients, to your family, and to your friends. And whatever home market you're in, for me, it's greater part of Portland, Oregon. Remind them, hey, I know you live here, but when you think Portland, Oregon, think of me. And they will likely, or some of them will probably still be a great referral source for you.
Awesome. Sean asked if we have any scripts. I think we have a lot of those coming up.
Sean, we have a ton of scripts. So today is more of a foundational piece. Look at this current year, start planning out next year. I'm going to go in some of my favorite best practices for the next 20 or so minutes. But you're going to see as we go over the next 9 days, and we've got agents getting super tactical within their database, super tactical with expired sports sell by owners, door knocking, touch campaigns. And every single week, guys, we're gonna send you a copy of the recording as well as the slides. So you're going to get those scripts printed real time.
Awesome. All right. There's a couple cool comments in here too. I think everyone's seeing these. Jason has a great one. I can't see the make for the one asking about listings. I only list my sellers of Flipper, so we continue to get tons of business from him. That's a great client. What we are doing is adding the buyer in our database for each listing.
Smart.
Great. Smart.
Smart.
Awesome. All right. I'm going to go silent again and let you take it over, Craig.
All right, really good, Andrew. If you guys have more questions, just put them in the chat bar. Andrew or somebody else will grab me and we'll go through them. And we'll have some extra time at the end to chat as well. All right, I just want to give you guys kind of my favorite or best practices. I would ask each of you to consider focusing on for the remainder of this year to set up next year. Number one is identity. Who will you become in 2023? Right, this is about affirmations. I am are two of the most powerful words that we can all have. For what you put after them shapes your reality. That's from the law of attraction. I am confident, I'm smart, I'm happy, I am successful, I'm a great agent, I attract buyers and sellers, I have a great business, I'm financially independent, I'm financially secure, I am rich, I'm giving, I'm kind. Or I'm stressed, I'm sad, I'm depressed, this is hard. I'm fearful of the markets. I'm stressed out. My clients are dropping out. How are we approaching? Well, we're past approaching for most of us in the country. How are we living right now compared to the mindset we had 5 or 6 months ago? And we worked our butts off. Like we just came from one of the most hardest, most challenging, time-consuming, stressful markets of all time. Like, are you kidding me? Like, we're writing 5, 6, 7 offers or more for certain clients. We're writing 20, 30, 50 plus $1,000 over asking. They're waiving inspections, agreeing to take the home in as-is condition, waiving appraisal, and letting the seller stay for 2 months for free. And we're still losing. Agents, we worked our butts off. But what we've entered into, but we were working. We're working every day and every minute of every day. Heck, one of the biggest challenges was just getting listing agents to call us back. We've got a different kind of stress right now. We've got the stress of negativity with interest rates, negativity with buyers dropping out of the market, negativity with the media and the things they're sharing about the markets. And how is that affecting you? What are the words following your I am? I am excited for this market. I am confident. I'm going to dominate. I'm going to help others succeed. I'm going to help buyers get great deals. Heck, I am not feeling bad for my sellers. Not yet. The typical seller in the markets that I worked in, their house went up over $200,000 the last 24 months. In some cases, substantially more. And yes, I'm very sorry that some of those houses have now gone down 20, 30, 40,000. They're still plus 150. So unless somebody just bought a property in the last 4 or 5 months, and that's going to happen, they need to sell. Odds are, if you're a seller, it's like buying a stock at $5 3, 4, 5 years ago, and it went up to 100. Maybe it's dropped back down to 70, but you've still done really well. So I am not feeling bad for the sellers. I'm excited for the sellers. They've had a great few years, and they will continue to make a substantial amount of money if they've owned their home for more than 2 or 3 years. On the flip side, I am excited for my buyers, Andrea. Like, I'm so excited for them. Are you kidding me? I can get sellers substantially down on price. I can get sellers to pay down the interest rate. I can get sellers to pay closing costs. I can get sellers to actually do repairs again. Like, my buyers are in a phenomenal opportunity. So what are you manifesting? Who do you want to be? What do you want environment to look like? Who are you hanging out with? That's why I'm really excited to have this group. Like, we're all hanging out together for the next 10 days. Who do you surround yourself with? What are their affirmations? What's their identity? What's their mindsets? Are they negative and complaining, or are they seeing the opportunities? What I like about a shifting market is it'll affect everybody for about 6 months, right? The person selling 600 homes will drop to 450. The person selling 30 homes will drop to 17 or 20. The person selling 70 homes will drop to 50. Like, everybody's going to be affected in the first 6 months of the shifting market. What you'll start seeing after that is those that have the strongest mindset and the best practices to win for their clients, you'll start seeing them separating. And you'll see it in many cases, even a different group winning at a really high level than we've seen over the last couple of years. So manifest, who do you want to be? What environment are you in? Who do you spend your time with? Are they building you up, or are they complaining about the markets? And maybe most importantly, really pay attention to the reel that's playing in your head, or even the words coming out of your mouth. And are you saying positive, upbeat, opportunist things? Or are you negative and stressed out about the market? Because we're going to attract whatever we ask for. Who are your influencers? Think of one relationship that you could make or engage. I've got one, probably on the text chain here. This is a great book. A bunch of my buddies have been talking about it. My wife sent it out this morning to the team. Might be the wrong text chain. Andrew, you might have to text it in if I can't find it that quickly. Here it is. Should be here. Bingo. Y'all see that?
It's called Tax-Free Wealth.
Yeah. Some of the smartest, successful people in our industry are reading this book right now. I've had no less than 4 different people recommend it to me in the last 30 days. So I think I was in Vegas, Andrew, and I texted Anne-Marie, my wife, and I was like, hey, can you get on Amazon and order me that book? And she's like, you knucklehead, I bought it 2 weeks ago. It's on your nightstand. And I've been reading it all weekend long. You understand, that's a relationship. That's an influence. That is a strategy that could help my family and I save a substantial amount of money compared to just paying in taxes. So what relationship could you make or engage in to grow your mindsets? Who can you call or invite to lunch? So when I think of relationships and influencers, I think of 2 different categories. One is people I know, people in my community, people in my markets, that I could have the ability to simply call and buy a cup of coffee, or buy a beer, or invite to lunch, or meet for dinner, and pick their brain about why are they so successful in this area. The other group I look at is similar to the book I just showed you. You know, what podcasts can I follow? What books can I read that can have and those are still relationships that can make a positive influence on my mindsets. Can you think of anyone right now that you should reach out and invite to lunch? Maybe somebody really excited about this market. Maybe somebody that had really good success in 2008 through 2011. We've got a new agent that joined our team like 4 hours ago. And that relationship started with her dad calling me up about a month ago and said, hey, Craig, you know, my daughter's in real estate. I didn't even know his daughter was in real estate. And of everyone I know, you grinded the hardest, you buckled down the most, and you had outrageous success 2008 through 2012. And I know things are different now, but what's not going to be different is really committing and giving it your all. Would you be willing to meet with my daughter and talk to her about what it's going to take to not just survive, but truly thrive in the market we're in? So the rest is history. I met with the daughter, truly unattached to giving her those pieces of advice. Her name's Shannon. And over the course of a couple conversations, it became clear, like, hey, maybe we should just do this together. And she left her company and joined our company, and today's day one. So those are examples of somebody reaching out to me saying, hey, can you help us through this? Who do you need to reach out to? When can you call them? Do you hang up right now, or you can at least in 15 more minutes and send them a text and invite them out? Who should you follow or study? What books on wealth, money management, tax savings, mindsets, abundant mindset can you follow that's going to put you in a stronger position? What do you need to do to make that happen? Well, it's probably pretty simple. Clear up some time in your calendar, think of a couple of people, shoot out a couple of text calls or emails, and start getting something started. Or jump on Amazon and get a couple books. I like Mark Kane. The first step towards success is taken when you refuse to be a captive of the environment in which you first find yourself. You know what this is all about? I literally refuse to be a captive of the markets. I don't give a rip if rates are at 7% or go up to 17%. As I shared earlier, I'm so crystal clear on my 5-year vision and what my life will look like and what I'll be doing and who I'll be spending my time with and what type of financial cushion and reserves and where we'll be at. That all of this is just a chapter in what's going to turn out or continue to be a really great novel. So are you a captive of this market? Are you still bitching and complaining about the 2 buyers that dropped out when rates hit 7%? Or are you aggressively getting up, getting out of bed on the days you work, finding opportunities in your market? And make no mistake, there are some great opportunities both the buy side and the sell side, and then finding a group of people to reach out and talk to them about. So let's find some positive influencers in our own market and on the web and on books. And let's really study them for the next 70 days and beyond and get our mind in a really strong place going into next year. Number 2, database. And again, as we go through the next 9 days, I'm giving you guys a quick overview. Our coaches are going to get really deep, very exciting into each of these categories. But in simplest form, when I talk database, I always talk met database, right? There's 2 databases. These are the people I've met. I know them. My definition of that is I'd recognize them at Costco. And then there's everybody else at Costco. There's everybody else in the world. So in database, what does your met database look like? Let's if we do nothing else over the next 70 days besides working on a really strong mindset, let's schedule out our touches for next year. How many email touches will you do? Is that 1 a week? Is it 2 a month? Is it 1 a month? How many phone calls? And who will you call? Probably unrealistic if this whole year we haven't called anybody to say next year I'll call my database. But is there some VIP list you can make over the next 70 days and you're going to give them quarterly calls and check in with them? Maybe you're going to invite that same group via call to client events, or are you going to do that through text or email or snail mail? What mailers should go out? What cleanup do you need to do to your database to make sure you got the email addresses, the phone numbers, snail mail? Maybe you're more of a hands-on person and you rather interact with them. So you're going to be really consistent with your gifts and pop buys. So as you look at your net database over the remainder of this year, let's get a really clear schedule on the calendar of emails, calls, client events, mailers, gifts, pop buys. So the people that know us consistently think real estate when they think of us. That quote on the right-hand side is your business is in direct proportion to the size of your Met database. It just is. Your business is in direct proportion to how many people you have in that Met database, but then the catch is and how consistently or often you communicate with them. Show me an agent that's got 400 or 500 plus people in their Met database and show me they're communicating with them 2 to 3 times a month. And I'll show you an agent that is probably doing pretty well in this market and has historically done really well. I'll show you an agent that's going to be okay next year, regardless of where the market goes. We've got a weird industry, right? We spend more time as an industry convincing people we don't know to hire us than we actually do of reminding people that know us already, hey, when you think real estate, think of me. I mean, think about it. Like any one of us can pull out our Visa right now and buy like over 100 different lead sources. Any one of us can go and do open houses, which are awesome, but that's convincing people we don't know to do business with us. Any one of us can do door knocking. Any one of us can do expireds. Spend a lot of time convincing people we don't know to do business with us. And I think that's why the MLS or our RMLS stats are 9 out of 10 people surveyed by NAR at the end of each year said I had a great real estate experience. I'll use my broker again. 9 out of 10, that's phenomenal. Yeah, as an industry, when they go back and ask, okay, you're buying or selling your second or third home, did you use the same agent? It normally ranges from about 11 to 17% actually use us again. So how do we go from being so great, 9 out of 10 say I'll use you, to 1 out of 2 actually use us on their next real estate transaction? Guys, this is it. We just don't stay in touch with them. We go out and convince people we don't know to work with us, and we forget to stay in touch with our past clients, our family, our friends, our coworkers from previous industries. So it's a game changer. It is that simple. Let's get our MET database put together. And some of our coaches, I know Darcy's hitting on that, I know Chase is hitting on that. We're going to go really deep and we're going to give you tactical touch campaigns as this course continues. Number 3, be an expert. More important than ever. You better have the best scripts going to 2023. You absolutely need to understand your multiple listing, period. Our days on market up or down is in my market, for example, I think there was I don't think I know this actually. There was 757 price reductions last week. That's up like 82% from this week a year ago. If I understand my multiple listing, what's truly happening in it, then I have an opportunity to start sharing that with my clients, and I'll attract more buyers and sellers. Role play, that's practicing those scripts. Practice your listing presentation. Practice your buyer consult. If you love doing open houses, and open houses are awesome, like I'm not picking on them. I just think it's interesting as an industry, we keep doing open houses when we're 10 years in business, but we don't remind our past clients who have actually used us and bought and sold homes from us. We don't have a sophisticated touch campaign staying in touch with them. But if you're going to do open houses, practice your open house scripts. Preview properties, see what's happening in the market. There's some good deals out there. Go and identify them and then start calling a group of your clients. There's opportunity in this market, period. Find it every day by being the expert of your market. And then it's this simple, you just tell the world. You tell them via your database touches, you tell them via social media, you tell them at client events, you tell them at school events, or wherever else you spend your time. Because one thing we know is human beings always be like, oh, how's the markets? And the typical agent at this point is going to be, oh, it's really hard, rates, blah, blah, blah. It's like, it's freaking amazing. Like, yeah, rates are up, but I'm looking at a house right now that just dropped its price 50,000. And I talked to the agent, and they're willing to come down some more because they want to be sold before the holidays. There's opportunity in this market. We just got to work to find it every day. So number 3 is be the expert. Number 4. And again, 3 and 4 are not what I call the sexy, fun part of real estate. Being an expert means we're sitting down at our computer and we're looking at data, and then we're analyzing that data to find opportunity to share with a group of people. And number 4 is tracking. We talked about that earlier on the call. It's critical to track your numbers, know how to adjust. So, I'm coaching a different team in Seattle than I mentioned earlier. And this team's like, Craig, we're just doing a lot of lead generations. Like, cool, I'm really proud of you guys. And it wasn't adding up week after week, month after month. They weren't scheduling too many appointments. And when we got them tracking, we dove into the numbers. It turned out like on average per agent, they were talking to 3 people a day. Okay, well, that's pretty simple. Make more calls, send more text messages, have more outreach. Because in the market we're in, if you're only talking to 2 to 3 new people a day, odds are you're not going to have a very successful business. So low contact, you make more calls. Low contact to appointments. So maybe work on scripts or objection handling. So, maybe you've got a bunch of contacts you're making, but you're still not scheduling many appointments. That's probably objection handling or scripts. And then, of course, low listing appointment attended to taken. That's really simple. You just work on your listing presentation. Or if you're on the buy side, you work on your buyer console. You work on objection handling. So track your numbers, analyze the data, and it's going to paint a picture for you. And I love what Chris shares here on the top right. If you're not keeping score, you're just practicing. I had a phenomenal weekend here in Portland, Oregon. I was at the Blazer game on Friday night. We somehow managed to beat the Phoenix Suns, like unbelievable in overtime. I was at the Ducks game this weekend playing UCLA, number 9 versus number 10. I'm a Ducks fan. They beat UCLA. How fun would these games be if they didn't keep score? Like, what makes them so exciting was the overtime game with 5 minutes left on the clock and we're against Phoenix, or the Ducks game going into 4 quarters and who's winning and what's happening by halftime. So if you want to be more competitive, start keeping score of everything. It will make you more competitive. It will give you clarity of what's working and not working inside your organization. Tracking continues. Andrew, are we doing good? Any more questions popping up?
Nope, we're doing great. No more
All right,
questions.
guys. Feel free to type some in because we got a couple of slides left. We'll wrap up with some Q&A and then we'll see all of you tomorrow, same time. So every one of these calls will be recorded. Every day we'll send you a copy of the recording along with the workbook, not the workbook, but the slides. Time block a financial review meeting for yourself and any key players in your organization monthly. Whoa, craziness. Like, we should actually look at the financials in our business at a minimum monthly. If I was your coach, I'd be recommending once a week. At a minimum, what is happening in our company? How much money is coming in? How much is going out? What revolving credit card is on auto pay for something we probably signed up for 2 years ago that's no longer relevant? What did we sign up for 6 months ago in a super hot market that maybe we shouldn't be paying for now? Let's look at that monthly. Let's track it. Let's make adjustments. Number 2 is leverage your books. Leverage your books. We've got the amazing Palmer Bookkeeping as one of our sponsors. I think he's going to be on call 7 or 8. We'll show some slides of him and some upcoming calls as well. I've been working with Mitch Palmer now for like 13, 14 years. Mitch specializes in working with real estate agents across the country and getting their receipts, getting their credit cards, and organizing that and telling them exactly where their money is going, what areas they're winning in, what areas there's opportunity in. So we highly recommend Palmer Bookkeeping, but also leverage your books to somebody, pay somebody to organize them. If you're not doing it yourself and you've been in business for 2, 3, 5, or 10 years, and you're showing up at the end of the year with a suitcase of receipts and a bunch of statements, and your financial planner, your tax person's just looking at you like it's a train wreck, it probably means you're not going to do it. For a relatively small amount of money, have somebody run that for you and know where you stand financially. I promise you'll make 5 or 10-fold off every dollar you spend. And number 3, stay within a profitable model. And that's a little bit more challenging to do for some of us the last 4 or 5 months compared to the robust market we just came out of. And if we don't know where we're making money and where we're not, then it's impossible to even know if we're in a profitable model, which goes back to 1 and 2, schedule a monthly financial review. And 2, if you're not willing to do that, then at the very least, pay somebody to do the books for you and then look at those at least once a month. Number 5, leverage. One of my most favorite and passionate topics is a leverage model, right? Every real estate agent on the planet is a CEO of their company. Do you work at ABC Realty or do you work at the different brand down the street? Do you buy leads? Do you hold open houses? Do you sleep in? You're the CEO, period. Listing agent, if you're a solo practitioner, that's a different job, ladies and gentlemen, than being the CEO, right? Listing agent has a very, very high dollar per hour return, but it also takes a tremendous amount of skill and knowledge to be a dominant listing agent in your market. Next, you've got the administrative side. In most parts of the country, that's going to pay 17 to about 40 bucks an hour. Again, not good or bad. If you don't have an admin, you are the admin of your company. So you're going from being a listing agent making $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 an hour, and then you get a listing sign, good job, and then you drive back to your home base and you start entering in the multiple listing or turning the paperwork into your brokerage or making a flyer or hiring a stager. Not good or bad, but you just potentially went from making $2,000 to $3,000 an hour to making 22 bucks an hour. Buyer's agent, and to me, again, I'll call that the surgery side of the business. That is procuring clients, that is negotiating contracts, that is comping homes at a high level, that is overcoming and getting through nasty home inspections, low appraisals. Like, that's the surgery side of the buy side. And that's another job that probably pays $500 to $1,000 an hour when executed at a high level. Opening doors at a really high level, like really high level, knowing your stuff, answering questions, probably 50 to 100 bucks an hour. So these are the 5 roles that every real estate agent on the planet for sure has. And as you're looking at 2023 and beyond, is there any of these roles you don't want to do anymore? Is there anybody you currently have in your team you thought you were paying to do some of these roles and you maybe have to have a revisit with them in this new market and get back on track? So maybe you need to hire an administrative person to help you with some of those, what we call nurse responsibilities. So you've got more free time to be a surgeon. Maybe you need a virtual assistant to do some of those repetitive tasks that can easily be done over and over and over. Maybe you need a showing agent or a buyer's agent in your organization. So number 5 is a leverage model. What is your strength zone? Where do you want to live? When you think of real estate, what do you love doing? For me, it was typically getting listing contracts signed, negotiating multiple offers on behalf of my sellers, helping my clients win in a hot market, helping them get a great deal in a down market. Those were the things I loved. And so it's not a coincidence by default. I started looking at things that I kind of enjoyed doing in real estate, but I didn't love doing those. It wasn't my strength zone. And I started bringing really talented, really awesome people to help me in some of those roles. And guess what? We all got to win together. So that worked out really well. Okay, why don't we jump over? We'll do one more slide. This will be in the packet we send you as well. We are offering one-on-one coaching. I don't want to camp on that today. I want to set up 2023. But if any of you are interested in what we do in the one-on-one space, you can just scan that QR code there, or in the top right, you can email success@rigorcoaching.com. So at the end of the day, what we're going to do is we're going to teach you guys, and the coaches are going to bring it, I promise you, over the next 9 days at a really high level, the best tactics, strategies, and mindset to dominate in 2023. That's the teaching side. All coaching is then we hold it all accountable to actually making sure week after week, we put those things in place. At RCC, we call it big agenda, little agenda. So big agenda is I'm going to accomplish this next year. I'm going to accomplish this in the next 5 years. And little agenda is what I know there's going to be distractions. I know there's going to be chaos. But what is it I absolutely have to accomplish this week on the little agenda? Despite all that chaos and distraction, that's going to have an impact on me hitting my 5-year goal. So with that said, Andrea, maybe a few more questions or ahas popped up.
That was awesome.
Thank you. And I've got a cold, so I feel like I crushed it.
Oh, good job. Couldn't tell. Well, the Colda shared that they love tracking. So thank you, Juliet, for that. Jason shared we are looking at either a VA or in-house to handle social media and marketing. Awesome topic to outsource.
Really cool. And I think that's one of our topics coming up on like week 4-ish, Andrea.
Yeah, I think day 4.
Yeah.
Yep. And Bella shared our Instagram handle, and I think 5 or 6 of you already liked it. So that's awesome. Definitely follow us there for more tips and tricks.
Very cool. Any questions, any ahas, any excitement any of you want to share?
Nope.
Alrighty, guys. Well, it is 11:58 in Portland, Oregon. Thank you for being part of Vision Reality. Who's our coaches tomorrow, Andrea?
We have Chase Craig and Mike Shaw tomorrow.
All right, so Chase Craig, Mike Shaw, between them, they close about 2,000 units. One of them's out of St. Louis. Chase Craig, there's Mike Shaw right there. Thank you, Mike. Yeah, he's going to crush it. Chase Craig is like 300-400 units plus out of Boise, Idaho. These guys are great, big value, big energy. It's going to be absolutely amazing. And probably even a little more energy than the cold I have. But I brought my best today. Thank you all so much. And we'll see you guys tomorrow, same time, same place. Thanks, everyone. Take care.